You couldn't compete if you were pregnant, which is a natural female function, but a man could still compete and beat you.
Hey everyone, I am in the United States and I'm with
Justine?
You compete in beauty pageants.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that?
Certainly. So I've been competing in pageantry since I was 16 years old. And pageantry has rebranded itself in America to be empowering towards women. The feminist movement actually has taken over a lot of organizations in pageantry, including the one I've been competing in. But now these pageants allow men to compete. Multiple pageants do. And the weird thing is that these pageants promote scholarship money a lot of the time. Those scholarships are meant to go towards women who are well-spoken, who show scholastic achievements, and it's supposed to empower women, but it's not, because now it's empowering men.
Have we seen that for a long time, or is it very new, this thing about trans women competing?
It seems to be riding off the coattails of men competing in sports.
Right.
Perhaps these pageant organizations saw that they could make some profit off this and look good in the woke media, so they're jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, and how does it feel to be someone competing, to see all these trans people also competing? How does it feel as a biological woman?
It's definitely a slap in the face to all the young women competing, and the very fact that in some pageants, by the way, we can't even call it a pageant anymore, because pageant is seen as derogatory towards women.
Why?
So, because it's uncool. It's seen as sexist.
Oh my god.
So in some of these organizations, you actually have to say competition. You can't say pageant. Sometimes they'll rename competitions, parts of it, like the evening gown competition or the swimsuit competition, to appear to be more pro modern day female, yet wait a minute, we're gonna put men in now.
Yeah.
I know the Miss USA organization actually just started allowing pregnant women to compete and married women to compete, but there was a time when you couldn't compete if you were pregnant, which is a natural female function, but a man could still compete and beat you. It starts small and then it gets bigger.
Your 2021 homecoming queen is Zachary Wilson.
What's going to stop some football player? You have a lot of douchey guys in high school. What's going to stop one of them from running for prom queen, saying they're a girl? Maybe they'll tell everyone they're a woman, and for like the last 3 months of school, and then they win prom queen, and then what? They take the makeup and heels off, and all of a sudden we're just going to accept that?
Yeah, we're not allowed to question them.
It happened with Zuby. He identified as female and then broke the world record for weightlifting in the UK.
I keep hearing about how biological men don't have any physical strength advantage over women in 2019, so watch me destroy the British women's deadlift record without even trying. And then you know what he did? He did just that. Now, why is that a record? Well, Zuby explained, quote, "P.S. I identified as a woman while lifting the weight. Don't be a bigot!"
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
For a day, and then he's a male again.
It's just as offensive as Leah Thomas.
People do anything to win. And particularly in pageants, I know some people and some of their mothers who would do anything to win a pageant. They can dress up as a woman, compete, and automatically win. Not because they've done anything great during the competition, not because they're actually good or talented or beautiful, but because they dress up as a woman and everyone says that's empowering, and you're not allowed to question it, or else you're a bigot. In one of these pageants where the man won, he went up on stage, and for the talent competition, he did a monologue about himself becoming a woman and how awesome and empowered he is. The real problem behind this, it really stems from our generation, sadly, Gen Z and millennials, is that we've all become a bunch of narcissists.
Yeah. It's also degrading towards gay and trans people when you really think about it. They only win because they're trans, because they're gay. I don't want to do that as a trans person. I don't want to win something just because I'm trans. I can't help it. I mean, I did decide to transition. That was my choice, but I didn't choose to feel horrible about myself, and I don't want to be celebrated because of that either. So yeah, I don't understand.
When they see that they can get away with it in a small competition, something silly like a prom queen, now they'll say, oh, okay, let's try sports. Let's see how far we can go by putting a man in a woman's sport. And you would think that the backlash with Leah Thomas maybe caused them to take a step back and think, okay, wait a minute, something's off here. But no, they keep pushing it. But the interesting thing is, there's a pattern. When you go woke, you go broke. And we've seen this with Disney just now, where they actually had to get rid of their new CEO, who replaced their old CEO, who I guess wasn't woke enough. Now the old CEO is back. So they realized that didn't work out. But they seem to be making the same mistake over again. They keep going broke by going woke, but they're still going woke.
Yeah,
and they think that
they haven't learned anything from it.
They can somehow fix their economic despair by getting even worse, by going even more woke.
Right. And you're right, it starts out innocent. It starts with a prom where a man or a boy, he wins prom queen. It starts out innocent when it comes to sports at a high school. Oh, it doesn't mean anything, it's just a competition at a high school. And now we see it in the Olympics and stuff like that. So it's definitely, yeah, it's definitely a problem. So we found a video about Miss Universe, and this is a transgender woman who won. She looks great. But what do you think about her being trans and in this competition?
He's beautiful. And at least in this competition, he actually put in the effort and tried to do his best in that competition. No matter what someone looks like, you can't be a man and compete for something that's dedicated to women's empowerment. If you're going to claim that you're hosting this competition to empower women and out of the act of feminism and feminist ideology, but then all of a sudden contradict yourself by allowing biological men in. Meanwhile, when this competition happened, this was last year, pregnant women could not compete, but biological men could. Now they changed the rules.
So women having a natural biological function
Exactly.
is not allowed.
Exactly. But a man can take another opportunity from a woman in a woman's competition.
I just wonder, why don't they make a transgender, competition? That's what I think about this whole issue with trans women competing in women's sports, now pageants. They should just have their own league. If there's so many of them who would be excluded, and we would feel bad for excluding, well, have your own league.
So they actually do have that, at least in Israel.
Oh.
Yeah. Israel had Miss Trans Israel. And that's great. Everyone should be able to be included in a certain activity. But not when it puts people who are entirely different, because men and women are different, puts them together in something that would be completely unfair, like sports, and like a pageant meant for actual women, which was created for celebrating actual women. If you want to have Miss or Mr. Transgender or whatever, that's great. And I hope people are able to start those competitions and succeed in them, because everybody should have an equal opportunity.
Yeah.
But it's not equal when you put men and women who are entirely different in these sorts of competitions.
Maybe they're pressured to doing it. Maybe they don't want to, but they feel like they have to. Otherwise they would be called transphobic and stuff.
Of course.
It makes no sense to me because they're kind of acting sexist. So what would you rather be called, transphobic or sexist? But thank you so much for coming on my video. And where can people find you?
Thanks for having me. You can find me on Instagram, Justine Brooke Murray. That's just my full name. Brooke has an E at the end of it. And on Twitter, Justine_BROOKE. That's also my Getter page, which I started a Getter account when Twitter was banning everyone. Of course, now we have Elon Musk, but I still use Getter too.
Well, that's great. But thank you so much again, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye.